Open, wide shot, dawn light. A marble courtyard gleams beneath a pale morning sky. Flags whisper. Distant drums count the breath of a pack waiting on the edge of history. A small figure sits in the arms of his father, kicking at the air with impatient feet. Theo is 3. His hair is gold like new wheat. Beside them, the crowd leans in. Music hums low, as if the stones themselves hold their breath. At the center of the platform rests the moon circlet, a slender ring of hammered silver inset with a single pale stone. The old story says the circlet answers only to the heart the goddess means to bless. For 5 centuries it has settled upon the chosen head without dispute. Eric Stone, Alpha of Moonfall, stands with his hand lifted. A man worn by war and loss, a leader in his 30s whose face maps the cost of command. He has chosen a mate the council approved. Sarah Vallon, polished, poised, the kind of woman who makes alliances take root. Only one person in the crowd trembles with something other than curiosity. A kitchen girl in a faded dress, smudges on her knuckles, hair pinned back in an everyday braid. Mira Hollow keeps to the edges, a person meant to be invisible, but today she is here, present because the work of the feast has carried her near the ceremonial grounds. Flashback, 6 months earlier. Soft focus. Eric had loved once, Leora, who gave him a son and then vanished in childbirth. He swore, over a gravestone and an empty bed, he would give the boy a mother and this pack the steadiness it deserved. When Sarah arrived from the neighboring hold as a diplomatic match, it made sense on paper. Wealth, lineage, competence. Sarah moved like someone who'd always stood on raised floors. She praised tidy routines, firm rules, and the value of order. To advisors, she was the answer. To Theo, she was an intrusion. At her polite touch, the child would flinch. She suggested structure where a boy needed laughter. She argued for training where he needed comfort. Eric, torn between duty and memory, let protocol steer him too long. Meanwhile, Mira, orphaned as a child and raised in the pack kitchens, her life was simple labor and small mercies. She learned the taste of bread, the exact angle to scrape a pot clean, and how to fold her presence into the background. But once or twice, when she thought no one watched, she'd seen the Alpha as a father, the way his face loosened, the sound of his laugh as he chased his boy across the garden. That fragment of tenderness lodged in Mira like a seed. She met Theo by accident, a chance pause in a hallway, a pitying crunch of sobs behind a door. She stepped in and listened. For 10 minutes she did what the world had never taught her to do. She gave the boy time, a small offering of attention and human warmth. He passed her his stuffed wolf, Lupus, and in a few stolen days they built a quiet friendship. Secret smiles, hidden waves, a dandelion offered like treasure. Back to ceremony. Present. Slow motion. The priest lifts the moon circlet. Strings pull taut in the orchestra. Eric moves forward, circlet poised, Theo squirming in his arms. Then a child's decision fractures the ritual. Theo wrenches himself free, hands clumsy but determined. He snatches the circlet. Gasps ripple. The silver ring sails, and in a heartbeat tumbles across the stone toward Myra's feet. Silence, thick and hot, presses in. An invisible woman in a simple dress stands frozen as the world watches what she never expected. Theo darts, faster than polite hands can move, and plants the circlet on Myra's head. For a beat that stretches like a held breath, nothing happens. Then the metal warms. A faint light blooms from the circlet stone, soft as moonlight. People inhale as the old legend folds back into the world. The circlet recognizes its true keeper. Sarah's face goes white. Her composed voice collapses into a hiss. "This is madness," she spits. Her words are sharp and cruel, cut from protocol and entitlement. Eric's body tightens. He knows the politics he traded for. He also knows the sound in his son's voice when he insisted. "She's the one. She loves Papa. She loves me." For once, law and love collide under a silver halo. Eric descends the platform, each step measuring something new. He looks at Mira not as a servant but as a person who once bent to pick up a crying child. "What is your name?" he asks. "Mira Hollow," she says, voice small enough to vanish. "I've worked in the kitchen since I was a girl." Recognition, strange and human, crosses Eric's face. He sees 100 small things: the way she listened, the loyalty in her ordinary hands. He hears the child's conviction echoing in him, and for the first time in years, the weight on his chest eases. The priestess's voice, old and authoritative, breaks the stunned hush. "The Circlet has chosen," she says, and the words carry like law. Crowds shuffle between outrage and awe. Sarah storms off, dignity torn from her like a veil, her political alliance dissolving into snapping silence behind her. Eric offers his hand. He does not demand answers. He offers partnership, fragile and honest, and he asks Mira if she will step into a role she never imagined. "Mira, will you stand as Luna?" he asks. She is afraid. She is untrained, unlettered in high council protocol. But she has a beating heart and a memory of a child who trusted her with his grief. "Yes," she whispers, because being seen has weight of its own and because she does not want to walk away from the hands of a boy who calls her mama in the small hours. After montage, 6 months of change. Mira learning the language of politics at the firelight, copying laws by the glow of a lamp. Children of different ranks playing together in a new public schoolroom she pushed for. Omega quarters brightened, beds mended, wages raised. A council meeting where a once skeptical Beta stands and admits he misjudged her. Eric and Mira walking borders at dusk, their conversations practical, patient. 2 people learning the shape of partnership. Theo running between them, the small anchor that changed everything. Mira stumbles. She apologizes for ignorance. She asks questions rather than feigning knowledge. Pack members see her fail and rise. Their distrust softens. 6 months later, in a quiet study lit by moonlight, Mira asks the question that has fluttered at the edge of their partnership. "Do you think we'll ever be true mates?" Eric sets down his papers. "I can't promise the moon's hand," he says, honest and blunt. "But I can promise the only thing that matters to me now. I'll choose this, you and Theo, every day until it's not a choice anymore." They dance, awkward and earnest, in a room with no music. Theo peeks from the doorway and grins. The moon slides a thin beam across the floor, and for that instant, the 3 of them are a family. Final, wide-shot night. Moonlight baths the packland. A new rhythm sets in, dinner shared, disputes hushed by common sense, pups taught to dream bigger than the rank printed on their birth scroll. Not every opponent is persuaded. Not every tradition abandoned. But seed by seed, the pack grows kinder and more whole. Mira stands on a low hill, the circlet now an emblem of responsibility rather than miracle. She looks at Eric and Theo, at a life she never dared claim, and understands that sometimes being chosen means you also choose. Fade out. Title card. When the moon chose. N.